Okay, we are starting our new packet today. I have a sore throat, so I'm sorry to be talking like this, but hopefully you can still hear it. Please go ahead and put your name at the top. I'm going to just put my name and sorry, it's going to be a little bit of a scratchy throat day. So, don't lose this packet. I hope you put your name on it. Don't lose it. Go ahead and turn the page to the first section, which is 4.1. All right, we're going to start with writing equations in slope-intercept form. Your I can statement is write equations in slope-intercept form using linear equations to model real life. Speaking of real life, a linear model is a linear function that can model I ran out of room. That can model a real life situation. Ooh, barely. Okay. Slope-intercept form, you guys should know that by now. We've talked about it a lot. It's a linear equation written in the form y equals mx plus b. Excuse me. All right, where m is your slope. Another thing that I think you've called slope before, like when you were in 7th grade and didn't know it as slope, you called it the constant rate. So let's put constant rate under that. The b is your y-intercept. Remember, that's where it hits the y-axis. And that is also your starting value. So if we say we started at a certain amount and then we earned however much per month, then your y-intercept is your starting value and your however much you earned per month is a constant rate. So the last one says a function is a relation that pairs each input with, and again, you should already know this, but exactly one output. In order to be a function, each input can have only exactly one output. Okay, on this left side, let's fill in this first rectangle over here on the left first. The slope formula is to calculate slope, which is m, you would, from 2 points, you would take y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if you forget which one is which, the first two are your 1s, so that's your x1 and y1, and the second set are your 2s because it's your second one. So that would be your x2 and your y2. So we're going to go ahead and calculate it. So using this slope formula, let's see what the slope would be of these. So I'm going to take my -2 minus 4 on the top, numerator, and then on the denominator, I'm going to put 3 minus 0. -2 minus 4 is -6. 3 minus 0 is 3. And we always simplify if you can. -6 divided by 3 is -2. You've maybe never seen it written like this with function notation, but all that means is your first x is 1 and your first y is 3. Your second x is 2 and your second y is 5. So you could turn this into ordered pairs. So it still is the same thing you do here. You do that here. It's just that it's written a little funny, but it's still 1, 3, 2, 5. So let's go ahead and find the slope of this one too. So you're going to do 5 minus 3 in the numerator over 2 minus 1 in the denominator. 5 minus 3 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Write it in simplest form. Anything over 1 is a whole number, 2. Okay. The slope from a graph, if you ever have a graph, you're just counting rise and run. So you always put your rise on top and your run on the bottom. And if you forget, it's the same thing it is here. Your y's going up and down the y-axis is the rise, and then going across left or right on the x-axis, that's your run. So it's still y's over x's, rise over run to get your slope. So from dot to dot, we're going to start with this dot, and we're going to go to this dot. You always read a graph from left to right. You rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. So our slope is 1/3. The first thing you should notice about the next picture is it's negative. As you read a graph from left to right, it's falling. So it is going to be negative. I'm going to stick a negative there just because otherwise I tend to forget. And we're going to see how much we fall from dot to dot. We're going to do rise, which is technically fall, and then run. So it looks like we rise 1, 2, 3, 4, and run 1, 2, 3. So down 4 over 3, -4/3. All right, and then the last section is finding a slope from a table. Once again, you're doing your rise over your run, or your y's over your x's. So we're going to see what my y's are doing. F of x is the same thing as just a fancy way of saying y. We're going to see what my y's are doing and put that on top, and then what my x's are doing and put those on bottom. So you can either pick 2 points, like I could pick these two and these two if you want. We can put -4 comma -2 and -2 comma -1, and we can do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that's fine. But that is a lot of work. If you have a table and you can just find what the table is doing, you can go ahead and put that number by itself on the top, and then find what the x's are doing and put that number on the bottom. So what are my y's doing? From -2 to -1, it's increasing by 1. -1 to 0, increasing by 1, so that's constant, so 1 is the change. And if I would have done -1 minus -2, guess what we would have gotten? 1. Then we're going to find what the x's are doing. From -4 to -2, it's increasing by 2. From -2 to 0, it's increasing by 2. So 1 over 2. So this slope is half. And again, -2 minus -4 would have been 2. So you can either do it just by looking at what the y's are doing and put that on top over what the x's are doing goes on bottom, or you can pick 2 points and do the whole process. Okay. This other rectangle, for example 1, says write an equation of a line with the given slope and y-intercept. This should be very easy. If I give you what the slope is and I give you what the y-intercept is, just put it all together. Y equals m. Your m is your slope, so that's -3. X, don't forget your x, plus b. B is your y-intercept, which is half. So plus half. Okay, I would pause the video for a second and you go ahead and try these last 3 on your own. All right, if you did not pause it, or if you're just working it out with me, I'm going to go really fast. 0x, I wouldn't even put it. This is not simplified. If you have 0 x's, if the slope is 0, you don't even have an x. So it's gone, so it's just a y equals -2. And that makes more sense because a y equals is a horizontal line, and a horizontal line has a slope of 0. So that's why you don't write 0x. You just write y equals the number. Letter C, this would be super quick. Y equals 3x minus 1. Slope is 3. Y-intercept is -1. D, y equals half x plus 0. So since it's plus or minus 0, you're going to start at the origin. You don't even need to put plus 0. All right, last section. Let's write an equation for this line. So we know equations are going to be y equals mx plus b. And we know our m is our slope. So let's count from dot to dot. How many do we rise and how many do we run? Looks like we rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we run, 6. Looks like 6. And then we run 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 over 4 They both divide evenly by 2, so that would simplify to 3/2. So my slope is 3/2. So instead of m, I'm going to write y equals 3/2 x. Now, to find my b, that's my y-intercept. That's where it hits the y-axis. So we need to look and see that it hits the y-axis right down here at -3. So since it hits at -3, it's -3. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try b on your own. All right, if you're ready to try it with me or you've already tried it on your own and you're checking, here we go. M is the slope. The slope is falling, so I hope you remembered it's negative. It's going down 1, 2, 3, and it's going over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is -3/4. So y equals -3/4 x. And then my b is my y-intercept. That's where it hits the y-axis. It hits right there at 2. So +2. All right, let's turn the page and look at our last new page of notes today. Yeah. Okay. The first rectangle says modeling with mathematics, write an equation for each situation. So here's the real life situations we were talking about. A recording studio charges musicians an initial fee of $150. Just upfront, just to walk into the studio and record an album, they say, give me $150. Plus, you have a studio time cost at $50 per hour based on however many hours you're in there. So you need to figure out which one is your slope, which one changes per whatever, and which one is your y-intercept. That's the starting amount. So starting amount is the initial fee. That's $150. What changes is $50 per hour. So that depends on how many hours you could be in there. So I don't want to put, 50. It could be 100, could be 150, could be 200. It depends on how many hours you're in there. So that's why we stick an X after it, so that the X represents per hour. So the slope is 50, but it's 50 per hour. So you put it all together in an equation. Y equals 50x, that's $50 per hour, plus you have to also pay for the initial upfront fee, which is $150 just to rent or just to record the album. Okay, Corbin is wanting to join a local gym. 24-Hour Fitness Gym charges a $35 application fee. So just to fill out the application, not even to work out there, but just to sign up, there's $35 up front. Plus you also pay $36 per month. When I see the word per, I know that that's where I need to stick my X, because it could be $36 for the first month, but what if you join and you're a member for 18 months? That would be 36 times 18. So you need to stick an X on the one that changes per month or per hour or per whatever. So Y equals $36 per month. So put an X, plus you have to pay just to sign up, which is a $35 application fee. All right, letter C, go ahead and pause it and try this one on your own. All right, it says Uncle Charlie has a non-refundable $30 administrative fee. So that's upfront, that's your y-intercept. And it also charges $25 per hour. So that's the slope. 25x plus the $30 up front. Excuse me. Okay. Example 3. Okay, this is new. We're going to use part of something old that we already knew how to do and part of something new that I'm going to teach you right now. So if we need to write a whole equation through these 2 points, so there's going to be a line that goes through 2 points, and I'm going to tell you what those 2 points are, but we're not going to give you a graph. So you're not going to actually see it, but I want to know the equation for a line that passes through that dot and that dot. So the first part of it, you already know how to do. We need to find the slope. Because if we're going to write a whole equation, we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. We need the m and the b. So you already know how to find the m. In case you forgot, it's right here. To find the slope from 2 points, you're just going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's start with that, and that'll give us half of our answer. So -1 minus 5 over 0 minus -3. -1 minus 5 is -6. 0 minus -3 is +3. That simplifies. -6 divides evenly by 3, and you would get -2. So what I know right now is that my m is -2. So I have half of my answer. I have y equals -2x, and now I need to find the b. So this one is easy. This one is actually very, very easy because I hope you know that 0 comma anything is going to be on the y-axis. If I were to graph something on the y-axis, this would be 0, maybe 2. This would be 0, maybe -3. Anything with a 0 in front of it, that's your y-intercept. So I know that my b is -1. So my b is -1. So I'm going to put it all together. Y equals -2x minus 1. There's going to be a time very soon that I don't give you a nice and neat 0 comma something, and we're going to have to calculate it a different way. But for today, you got a 0 there. Whatever number is next to the 0 is your y-axis, is your y-intercept. So that's going to make it really easy here too. Okay, so first thing we need to calculate is the slope. y2 minus y1, -5 minus -5 over x2 minus x1, 8 minus 0. -5 plus 5 is 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. 0 divided by anything is... Why is my calculator doing that? It's on some scientific logarithm or something. Okay, I don't know why I was doing that. 0 divided by 8 is 0. Any number, if 0 is on the top, when you're dividing, it's just 0. So I have a slope of 0. I hope you remember what a slope of 0 looks like. It is a flat line. So you don't even need a y equals 0x. You can put that if you want, but your high school teachers are not going to like it. All you need is what the y-intercept is, which is -5. So I would much rather you write it. If there's 0 x's, just leave it off and just say y equals -5. All right. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two on your own. If you forgot like what function is, we talked about it right here. But this is the same thing as an ordered pair. So when you're looking at these two, you are looking at it the same way we just did these. So go ahead and pause the video and try A and B on your own. All right, if you're going through it with me or just checking your answer, I would quickly turn f of 0 equals 10 to 0 comma 10, and f of 6 equals 34 to 6 comma 34. And then I would first calculate the slope by doing y2 minus y1. So 34 minus 10 over 6 minus 0. 34 minus 10 is 24. 6 minus 0 is 6. 24 divides evenly by 6, and that is 4. So I was lucky and gave you a 0 comma something, which means that is your y-intercept. That's your b. So let's put together our m and our b into a whole equation. Y equals 4x plus 10. All right, the second one is 8 minus -4 over 3 minus 0. 8 minus -4 is 12. 3 minus 0 is 3. 12 divides nice and neat by 3, and it is 4. So that is our slope. And our y-intercept, I gave you 0 comma -4. So that's going to be your b. So put it all together. Y equals 4x minus 4. If I'm going too fast for you guys, please pause the video or replay it. And I know that my sickness, my cold is getting in the way of my, I guess, the way I sound. So sorry about that. So you may need to replay any of this or go back and rewatch if I'm going too fast. All right, here's your real life problems. In 2000, the average cost of college tuition in the U.S. was $14,000. In 2010, the cost was up to $18,000. Write a linear model. Okay, the linear model they want us to do is a function of the number of years since 2000. So let's start at the year 2000. If it wants us to start at year 2000, I'm going to put 2000 as year 0. And because that's how many years it's been in 2000 if we're starting at 2000. So in year 0, because that's the year we're starting from, the cost of tuition was $14,000. So I'm turning these into ordered pairs. You could have also put f of 0 equals 14,000 because at year 0, starting in 2000, at 2000, college tuition was 14,000. So I'm going to turn them into ordered pairs. The second ordered pair is in the year 2010. And if we want to go from the year since the year 2000, then that would make it 10 more years. So that would be 10 years later. And in 10 years later, the cost was up to $18,000. So if this doesn't make sense, well, the more we do, the more you'll get it. But that just means at year 0, which is starting from 2000. So in 2000, it was $14,000. And 10 years later, it was up to $18,000. All right. Again, we're writing an entire equation, I think. Is that what it said? Write a linear model. Okay, yeah, that's going to be an equation. So let's do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 18,000 minus 14,000. I know you guys can do this in your head. I don't know why I'm writing it all out, but would be 4,000 over 10 minus 0 would be 10. 4,000 divided by 10 is just going to be 400. So the slope is 400. So that's our m. So we have part of our answer. And again, I was very kind and gave you 0, 14,000. So knowing that we have a 0, whatever, this is going to be your b. All right, so let's put it all together in a linear model, which is also known as an equation. Y equals 400x plus 14,000. So what that's saying is it was increasing $400 per year plus where we started. The initial amount was 14,000. And then from there, you can add an average of an estimate of $400 per year. So this needs to really make sense to you as far as what it's saying, as far as the word problem. Okay, if you understood that pretty well, push pause and try B on your own. If not, I will do it with you now. So the corresponding data for electricity generated by hydropower is 248 million megawatt hours in 2007 and 277 million megawatt hours in 2012. Write a linear model that's the number of hours, blah, 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 the number of years since 2007. So they want us to start at 2007. So we're going to make the year 2007 our 0 year because that's what we're starting from. So a function of the year 0 is when it was 248. Okay, a function of, I know I'm making this one function notation and I made these ordered pairs. It doesn't matter. You do what you like to do best. It's the same thing. And then a function, if my input was 2012, how many years is that since 2007? So 2012 minus 2007 is a difference of 5 years. I know you can do that in your head. I'm just showing you. Okay, and that equals the 277 megawatt or whatever it is. All right, so these are your ordered pairs. We're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 277 minus 248 over 5 minus 0. 277 minus 248 is 29. 29 over 5. That does not simplify nice and neat. Did I do it right? 277 over 2. Yeah. That does not simplify nice and neat, so we're just going to leave it, because anytime slope, which is what this is something that can't simplify nice and neat, you just leave it. So our linear model is y equals 29/5 x, and our y-intercept would be 248, because 0 comma anything is your y-intercept. So plus 248. And just to make it make sense in your brain, what that means is we started at 248 million megawatt hours, and they added a rate of 29/5 per year since then. Okay, we are done with notes for today. So you can go on to the second video to help you get started with your homework if you need it.